Hello, my name is Shawna Moore. I'm the Executive Director at Lighthouse Recovery Services. Lighthouse has been around since 2002. We are a 12-step program, 18-month. So we are long-term, probably longer term than a lot of other programs. The first 30 days of their program, they don't get to work. They sit at the house, they get a case manager. They also go to Rooted Recovery down here with Chris. They go down there and they get classes with CADC and doctor and other people down there that are more qualified than I to teach them about their problems and their substance abuse issues. The best thing about Lighthouse is we are not one way. With guidance, let the clients decide which program works best for them. We are not funded by any state, or we're solely grant and client fees, self-pay, so we can kind of venture around and see what works best for them. If what works best for them is they need to go continue classes at Rooted, then that's what works for them. So as long as they stay sober and are compliant with a program, whether it's AA or whether it's NA or whether it's Celebrate Recovery, then that's what they get to do. So they live with us for approximately 6 months. But if at 6 months they're not ready and they don't have the money set up to move out yet, then they can continue to stay with us. So I will house them for the whole 18 months if they need to be housed for that whole 18 months. But typically at 6 months, they have a job and they were able to get their lives in order enough to save up money and move out into an apartment or and with some safe and sober people. And then at that point, they will continue coming to meetings and classes at Lighthouse. And they still continue to meet with their caseworkers and they still get random drug screened. And at that point, they have a year where they basically were building their sober support at that time. So they are continuing to give back to the guys that are newer in the house. After that 6 months, they do typically tend to come back and give to the other guys. So that long term in there in the house, they're going to tell you that changed their lives. So they want to be able to do that for the next person. What worked for me when I got sober was eliminating barriers. So that's what we work on. I'm really excited about this place, and I work with lots of you guys in this room and resource out a lot. So if they need rent assistance or if they need supervised visits with their children or whatever their needs are, we're going to resource that out. And then once they have that 6 months, if they don't have all those barriers eliminated, they don't go anywhere. Because without a firm foundation, then it's hard for us to stay sober. That's my mission as the director at Lighthouse, is to get each person and all their barriers eliminated so there's nothing stopping them from living their best life.
Hi, I'm Michelle Nobles. I'm the Senior Director of Crisis Services with River Valley Behavioral Health. Starting probably about 6 months ago, we started having all of our requests for residential substance use treatment go through our crisis and information line. So if you guys aren't familiar with that, we do operate our local 988, and we have a local crisis and information line for anybody that's experiencing any kind of crisis. And so if you take away one thing from me today, I really hope that you can pass along to the community that 988 is not just for people that are experiencing suicidal ideation. It is for any type of behavioral health crisis that they may be experiencing, and that includes substance use disorders. We want to be able to address and treat those things in crisis services dually together. So this is kind of the first line of defense. So if somebody is seeking services, they will call our crisis line and be triaged and assessed, and then a member of our mobile crisis team will complete further assessment following that. So our mobile crisis team is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to all 7 counties that we serve, and Davis County is one of those counties. We have 4 licensed clinicians, 6 peer support specialists, and a targeted case manager on that team who will go out and meet the person where they are, or if the person is more comfortable coming in, if the person is more comfortable doing an assessment via Zoom or telehealth, we're going to do it that way. And so they may call requesting a bed at our residential programs, Onyx or Amethyst, which I'm going to talk about in a second. Or they may just be looking for some stabilization. They're ready. They don't know where to go or what to do. And they have reached that point where they're saying, I'm done and I need help. I want help. And so that's where I think our Phoenix Center Crisis Stabilization Unit comes in. And I definitely want to highlight this for you guys and let you guys know that we're having our grand opening, and I have invitations up here for that. Please come see it. I really think this is an underutilized program in our area. We have beds that sit empty, and they shouldn't, because we know that the need is there. This is for individuals who are experiencing a mental health or a substance use crisis, and they are ready to change something about their life so that they feel more comfortable dealing with the situation that's going on, whatever it may be. And so if they are ready for a residential substance use treatment, we're going to get them in. And even if we don't have beds at our programs available, our team is working to build connections with all the folks in this room, folks throughout the state, programs across the state, if people feel that they need to leave Owensboro because it's just not a good environment for them right now and they need to get away for a little while, we want to do a warm handoff to a program. That's our goal. Our goal is to not send anybody back out to the street that doesn't want to do that anymore and doesn't want to live that life anymore. And so I definitely encourage you guys to come to our ribbon cutting and open house next Tuesday just to see the facility, because I think the more comfortable people feel with what it is, and the more people that know about it, the more people that can encourage folks to come in for an admission. So it's a less intensive level of care than traditional inpatient psychiatric. It's a home-like environment, and we want to be able to meet all of the needs of the individual: mental health, substance use, psychosocial stressors, barriers, whatever it is that's going on. We want to try and help with those. And then obviously, most of you have probably heard of our 28-day residential programs, our ASAM 3.5 level of care programs, the Onyx Center, which is our men's program, and the Amethyst Center, which is our women's program. And then the Amethyst Center also takes pregnant and parenting mothers as well. And so those programs are 28 days. That's kind of the first step in the year-long process, the year-long to 18-month process for our folks that are in substance use treatment with us. And so our mobile crisis team can reserve a bed for folks for these facilities and get them a bed date, or refer to our Phoenix Center and we can work to get them a bed date, or refer them to another program outside of one of ours if there's not bed availability. We do also offer at River Valley medication-assisted treatment. That can take a lot of different forms for a lot of different people. I know that there are a lot of varying opinions out there about MAT, and so I know a lot of programs, we will work with you if you only accept folks that are on injectable options for MAT. We'll make sure that that happens, or if there are options or alternatives for folks that want something a little different, Suboxone, we do offer MAT services that comes with counseling, in addition to obviously the medication management portion of it. And then the gathering place is our Recovery Community Center. And so that is a place for anybody in the community whatsoever. There are tons of meetings that happen there. I have our meeting schedule here that I can pass out today. They have a great Facebook page that folks like to follow to stay on top of what meetings are happening or what events are happening. They have a whole bunch of events that happen regularly. They're having like a battle of the bands coming up. So they're just really trying to promote a healthy space for people that are working their recovery to be and be surrounded by folks who are of a similar mindset. Our new grant-funded program, Roses for Moms. This is an 18-month program where they can follow pregnant or parenting mothers and their families. They work with the entire family, a clinician, peer support specialist, a case manager, to provide wraparound services for an entire year and a half after they exit residential treatment. So this is a really big deal. We got a lot of funding behind this, and so there's a lot of supports that can be offered to the mothers in our community, because we know that mothers don't experience substance use alone, and they need the support of their entire family and their children involvement, and supports for their children as well to get through that process.
I'm Chris Seaton, and I'm one of the owners and the executive director of Rooted Recovery. Rooted Recovery is brand new. We just opened our doors June 3rd, and we are a licensed AODE facility in the state of Kentucky. We provide intensive outpatient, and then individualized care for people seeking substance use and mental health. And as we grow, we plan to add PHP services long term. We'll have some housing, but I've been in long-term recovery myself. My two business partners, I have 20 years in recovery. My business partner, Roger Chilton, has 19. My other partner, Joe Welsh, has about 17. And Our clinical director, Jeff Harris, has 24 years in recovery, and our medical director, Tracy Westerfield, has 24 years as well. And so we have combined experience of what it really takes. Like, we're products of these services. And so we understand, and we have a relationship with individuals who are seeking these services that we're able to kind of bridge the gap. We've opened our minds up when our friends start to die and people start to, you start to question some of the stuff, and you start to realize, like, maybe we have to adapt and change if we're going to be in the game. But we still believe wholeheartedly in the relationship is the whole thing. That's what makes it different. We've been there. We understand. We build relationships with these people. And then we can advocate for you all and say, these are good folks too. And you need to go talk to them and believe in them, because they, it's more than we used to just treat the substance use, and the mental health kind of component was like, it'll work itself out. Well, it wasn't working out. And so we realized that we were like, have to start getting these people the services they need. And as working together collaboratively, we've come up with this like holistic approach that still is 12 step heavy. We're still relationship based, but most importantly, we're spiritual. Everything that we do, we want to focus our intention towards this is a spiritual program with a spiritual solution. So we have heavy emphasis on how we educate people to grow spiritually, because we feel that that's the solution to what we're dealing with. It's not only mentally and physically a symptom, but the real root cause is spiritual. And so Roger and Joe are both pastors at a local church, so they help with biblical truths. Tracy and I are both products of the 12-step world, so we use Big Book and a lot of our own personal experience to know what works for treating these individuals. So because we understand that it takes a community to help these individuals. It's not this is my program and it's their program. It's a we community, and we have to work together if we want to maximize the results for our people. And we understand that we can only do so much by ourselves, but together we can do so much more. So,
my name is Beth Galloway. I'm a counselor at Boulware Mission. Boulware has actually been around for about 100 years, 103 years. We are actually the longest running program in this community. So we work with substance use, obviously, but we also work with co-occurring mental health disorders. So we provide evidence-based practices, and we have licensed treatment. And our program director, Brother G, he is also a pastor, and he works very heavily with the spiritual side of recovery. He provides our evidence-based practices through our Helping Men Recover curriculum. So I work with our IOP the first 30 days mostly. So we do look at our clients, and we look at what natural strengths that we already have, and we try to meet them where they are, because we try not to look at recovery as something that is just a one size fits all. We try to recognize that recovery is very much an individualized thing. So we really just try to meet our clients where they are. We are a nonprofit, so we don't have extensive resources, but we also work with OCTC to help some of our clients get their GEDs, or we've had a couple clients actually get their certified driving license. And they've actually, through these partnerships, we've actually been able to see a lot of our clients really succeed. And that is truly what we want to see. We want to see them thrive. And honestly, some of our clients, they come in and they don't really have anything other than the clothes on their backs. They really don't have anything to their name. And we take them in, and our goal is just to work with them and just see them to succeed in the best way that we possibly can.
Hi, my name is Jeff Berry, and I'm the director of Owensboro Regional Recovery. Owensboro Regional Recovery is a 6-month long-term adult male facility, kind of like he was talking about, the behavior modification. It's peer-driven. It's a social model, and we've been open since 2009. I'm actually an alumni of Owensboro Regional Recovery, and I can say that this place changed my life. It made me today to where I can be a son, today where I can be a father, I can be a productive member of this community. And before Owensboro Regional Recovery, I couldn't even stay off of a park bench or out of prison. So, and what it does with that, we don't have a whole lot of resources, but we are funded in the 12 steps. We teach recovery dynamics. We teach, it has behavior modification, and it's peer driven, to where my peer is going to say anything and tell me what's wrong with me, where I'm probably not going to listen to you, because my whole life I listened to therapist, and they didn't know what they was talking about. But my peers see it, it kind of becomes real to me, and I get to change in there. I get to get love back to life, and some things have changed in the Owensboro Regional Recovery, where now we actually work with Audubon Area Community Care Clinic. If somebody comes to us and says, "Hey, we need some mental health needs," also, we are partnered with Audubon Area Community Care Clinic, and they go to see their therapist there. They come down and do our testing, and the doctors there are really good with our guys. Uh, we don't allow we don't allow narcotics, but we do allow like Vivitrol. Somebody want to be on Vivitrol, we allow. And we are funded by Department of Corrections. They will send with their referrals people in prison or coming out of prison. A lot of times, when they get there and they don't have nothing, they don't have nobody. The only support they have is the other guys in the building. And what's so awesome about Owensboro Regional Recovery is we have a ton of alumni who come back in. They teach 3 o'clock class. They donate to our SOS, which is the people who are safe off the streets. They stay in there for a week to come in and go through any detoxes that they may be going through. But alumni come in and love on them. The guys who are upper in the community or upper in the program love on the guys who are newer, meaning help them out, which is something that I needed when I came in because I had done burnt every bridge I ever. I needed people just like me to tell me it's going to be okay, even though I didn't want them to say it. Uh, so I'm really passionate about Owensboro Regional Recovery. If you look at our RKC stats, the statistics speak for itself. We have placed many people in this community who are running nonprofits, who are running uh, other things here in the community. They're the leaders in this community, are a product of an RKC or a Owensboro Regional Recovery, and that is awesome to see. And it's awesome to see all these people here. And thank you, Erica, for inviting us. It's awesome to see all these people here. And like Chris said, it is a we thing, and we do have to work together for this because uh, it's not getting better. I think the overdose rates are huge with the fentanyl being in everything, and we need a lot. We need a lot of help in here, and we need to come together and collaborate with this thing. And I just thank you for having us, and thank all y'all for being here.
How many of the organizations were nonprofit? I missed that.
Boulware is a nonprofit organization.
Okay,
We
you are now. Okay, Chris, y'all are a for-profit. Okay, so I'm assuming that for-profit, most of your fees are what pay for you all to keep your doors open. You don't get any type of grant funding or anything like that because you're not a nonprofit. Okay, all right. Just want to make sure. Thank you. That means y'all need to donate money to them.
All right, I have a quick question for you. What about supports for families? I know that we talked a lot about the individuals and treatment or that need treatment. What about programming that's maybe available for those that are being impacted, like direct family members? Any other programs you have besides Rose? I know I've heard a little about that.
So at Owensboro Regional Recovery, as in supports for families, we do try to support the family. We'll have family days. We have things coming on like events to come up to show the family like where these people stay at. We just had our golf ball drop, which is a fundraiser, but we allow them to bring their family in. They can come tour the building. They can see where you stay. They're always able to. They can't really just come in and visit, but whenever we have things, like we try to make sure to involve them. We always ask the family to maybe look at Al-Anon or something like that to help to support them in working with, because it takes. I don't know about y'all, but I'm in recovery and I almost killed my family. And they had no clue of how to help me. They just knew to throw money at me so to keep me away. And that money almost killed me. So we try to support the families when we can. And when we have these events, Alumni Day, September 7th, families allowed to come out. The mayor usually comes and speaks there, and we'll have volleyball tournaments, we'll have cornhole tournaments, we'll have food, we'll have a guest speaker in there, and we allow the families to come and talk and work with all the other guys there too. So that's kind of how we support the families. They don't really like it to come into the building, but just to show them that we are there and there is other things out there to help you to when your son does come back home.
Boulware is kind of similar to OR. We are working on expanding how we include the family into our practices. But right now, especially for our first 30 days and the next 30 days, we also don't really have visitors come in. We do try to make exceptions, especially for like holidays, and have family visits on the holidays. but yeah, that is something that we are working on expanding.
So the other thing I didn't mention about 988 is that it is also for friends and loved ones of those that are in crisis. So a lot of people don't know that. So we do encourage family members to call if they aren't sure of what approach to take with someone that they care about who's experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis. And then in addition to that, at Onyx and Amethyst once a week, they do have family days now where they come to our main location at Walnut Street and have peer supports that come in and schedule different types of activities to bring in the whole family and children. And then obviously at Amethyst, the women can have their children with them as well up to a certain age after birth. But it's one thing I forgot to mention is that we do have men's and women's sober living. And one of our parole houses is actually designated for mothers with their children up to, I think it's 2 years of age as well. So there are opportunities to keep the family together as much as possible in several of our programs.
Something we started doing recently at Lighthouse is on Saturday nights. We call it Saturday Night Live because it's supposed to be fun. But we've been getting with the community and having different people come and sponsor that. So, like if the center wanted to come and sponsor a Saturday Night Live, then they would show up and provide food and snacks and drinks for the guys, and then they would do a presentation. So the families are allowed to come to that, and they get to sit through, if an AA sponsor was there, then they would learn about what their family member is going through. If the center was there, they would learn about the resources that are at the center. So each Saturday night, we try to get a different sponsor so that the family can also, not just our clients, but the family can also be educated on the resources that we have in our community.
I do have a question for you guys. Owensboro is growing, and we have many members in our community that doesn't speak English, but they are probably suffering the problems that we're talking this morning here, this afternoon. Do you guys provide interpreting service?
We do not, but I know you guys do.
Yes, we do have access to interpreter services, particularly for therapeutic activities. It becomes a little more complicated with the group dynamics in Onyx and Amethyst, and I can't speak directly to that, but I do know that we have the availability of, yes.
So we do not, but what we do, what I talked about earlier, is it's heavily relationship built. And so a smile and making sure that I'm providing an environment that's kind and warm and loving, and making sure that I'm being a good neighbor and getting these people to where they can have the resources they need speaks volumes. So I may not speak the same language, but the language of the heart doesn't change when they understand that I know they're suffering and I care about them. And I look them in their eyes and they know that I'm willing to go to any length to help them. It goes a long way to provide the relationship. So when we do drop them off, they know we're putting them with people who are qualified and that are trustworthy. So it's all about relationships with me, brother.
Yes, Boulware does not provide interpretive services. We do have the range of our interpretive services really is just we have AA books that are in Spanish, but that is about the limit that we have right now. But of course, we are always with running a program. We're always looking for ways to improve. So that is something that we are also working on improving as well.
Owensboro Regional Recovery, we do not have interpreter services, but I do have a couple of alumni that actually speak Spanish, and I've asked them if anybody comes in, would they be willing to sit down and help these guys? And we also have literature that is in Spanish, and they are more than willing to come in and help and sit with them in the classes and help them to understand what we're doing there in the 12 steps. So we would not turn anybody away, and I would use any resource I could to find an interpreter to help somebody.
I just wanted to ask what type of insurances you guys take.
So we take Medicare and Medicaid, as well as most private insurances for most of our programs. And then I want to emphasize the Phoenix Center, our residential crisis stabilization unit, and all of our crisis services. No one will ever receive a bill for any of those services. So if they are uninsured and they need an admission to a residential facility and don't want to rack up $1,000+ bill at the inpatient psychiatric unit, this is definitely a good alternative for people. They will never receive a bill for crisis services. I'll let everybody speak to payment.
We are self-pay. We get them set up. I'm actually a representative for the state where I can set them up with insurance, with Medicaid. So, but we don't accept Medicaid now. We resource out. So I want to kind of go off what Chris was saying a minute ago. Is connection is key. Everywhere has to work together. We all have to work together, and I appreciate everyone in this room that does work with all of us. And I think all of us work together to some point. So resources are vital, and referring people out to the services that they need. And then the only thing that I wanted to add about Lighthouse is just a cool fact. I had a guy reach out to me. He's from Cardboard Box Ministries. He goes all over the country sharing his testimony. He was in the Ozzy Osbourne band, got addicted to heroin, and was homeless for 10 plus years, living in a cardboard box. And he reached out to me. So he will be at our alumni day playing some hillbilly music and sharing his story. Our alumni day is September the 21st.
I just wanted to speak to the connection piece one more time too. Some of the greatest success stories that I can think of with some of our clients that have come through have been with collaborations. One particular individual is probably familiar to most people in this room, just because of his time in the community, is now how many months recovery, Dr. Clark?
He's got it right at a year.
Right at a year. This was someone that was nonstop in and out of law enforcement involvement, crisis services, and all it took was a really good collaborative relationship between our crisis services team, our Phoenix Center, and Boulware. And we were able to finally get this individual off the street, thriving, getting ready to get his own apartment. And it's just a really, really wonderful thing. And so some of our greatest success stories have come out of collaborations. The guy that's going to speak at our Phoenix Center opening is a graduate of OR. And he said that program saved his life. But the one thing that he didn't realize when he was working his recovery program is that his mental health wasn't a priority to him. And it took him finally walking up to the door of the CSU to get that mental health help started, along with working his recovery program. And now he's a staff member at River Valley. So I think it's just these relationships are so important. I want to continue to grow these relationships. I think all of us here can agree that there is plenty of need in the community and nobody is fighting for business. We want to be able to best serve these individuals in the program that's going to be the best fit for them, no matter what that looks like. So I just want to say that.
Thank you. And to the insurance question, we're currently accept Medicaid, Medicare, couple commercial, United and Anthem. We're working to get contracted with all of them. But again, I would never, we would do something pro bono before we would turn somebody away. No, that's never going to be a barrier to why you can't receive treatment. In fact, we're doing it right now. We're just learning through the process, and everybody we see, we're not credentialed with a lot of our MCOs, but we're on our way. So anyway, thanks.
And going off of the insurance question, Boulware actually does not charge insurance. Our funding comes a lot from grants like United Way, and grants from mental health court, drug court, fiscal court, and we also, clients pay their fees, and that's a lot of our funding as well. But the important thing is that sometimes, actually, a lot of our clients, they come directly from jail, or they've been homeless for a long time, so they don't have insurance. Now, we do work with our clients to help them get insurance because a lot of them need that. A lot of them haven't gone to the dentist maybe once in like 20 years or something. So we do work with them, but we don't charge them for that. And I think that's an important thing. And also going off of what Michelle was talking about, collaborations are super important. I mentioned like collaborations with the center for some of the courses that they offer. We work with our Audubon area connector, Graham Temple. He is amazing. He is our go-to guy for getting our guys connected with Medicaid. And just, collaborations are just what keeps everything going. So,
Insurances, we don't take any insurance. If you are coming off the street and you're on probation or parole, you come in completely free. You don't pay a dime for the whole however long you're there. We will set you up with food stamps, and we will make sure that you have insurance, and those food stamps is what helps to provide lunches and dinners and breakfast for every guy in there. But it is completely free if you're coming off the street to Owensboro Regional Recovery.
I do have one more question, guys. Working for Davis County Public Schools, every school that we have has a family resource center. And during the year, we do different things to help the community. We do food drives, we do hygiene drives. There is anything we can do to help you guys? Because I really appreciate what you guys do, but how we can give back to you guys.
I just think the more you can familiarize yourself with the resources that are available to the families that you serve, the better we're going to be. So attending stuff like this, obviously, inviting organizations to come in and provide education or training. I know we offer a ton of trainings, both to the school system and just in the community. And so hosting a training, inviting us to come in for a training, all those opportunities help create education for the community about what's out there and what's available. Because we're very blessed here in Owensboro to have as many resources as we have. So.
And if you want to come sponsor a Saturday Night Live with the guys and their families and have a little family resource talk with them guys, that would always be helpful.
I would. I'd like to be able to maybe come and speak to the kids sometime, just share my experience, strength, and hope, and kind of let them know what the risks are and where I started and where I ended up and where I felt like I may have could used some guidance and neglected to do that for certain reasons. But I'd love to share my experience and build relationships with, especially middle school. It's a tough age. So high school, I'd love that opportunity.
Well, I was going to say what he said. We would love, me and probably a couple of my staff would love to come and I would love to talk to high school students, middle school students, because I know that's where my trouble started, was in middle school. And I would love to be able to show signs or whatever. Maybe me and Chris both could come talk. Who knows?
I will say, if you haven't toured, or do it. It's one of the most powerful tours. I love that you have your guys give the tours. I mean, and I've gone on 2 different tours, had 2 totally different tour experiences, and both were top notch. I mean, it's just it's so high impact to hear it from someone who's been through all of the steps and all of the phases of your program to tell you what it was like for them and what each level meant to them. It was just really neat to see. I think Melanie had a question.
This kind of goes off what Lucas had asked. So I'm sure you all see it like we do. Most drug use and mental health drug use they're generational. So have any of you considered doing a program that, school counselors or CDWs can send you kids that are at risk, that, their families have been generational drug users, to where we can stop this before it gets to where, they're late teens, 20s and in prison, incarcerated, in and out of jail. Has anyone considered that, or what would it take as far as collaboration to get something like that started?
So quickly, I've thought of it. I'm a product of that. So I got sober and stayed that way at 21, which is really unheard of, but I could have used it at about 12 years old if somebody would have intervened, but I'm being a little facetious. But I do know that there's definitely a huge need for that, because we see them after the fact and they're like, got 5 felonies and been to 14 treatment centers. And I'm like, man, we saw this when you were 14, and so I don't know how we can do better. I know juvenile drug court is just starting, and I think that's going to be a kind of a way that we can help work alongside. And River Valley has lots of adolescent stuff going on, but there's a huge need, and we're new, but that's definitely an avenue that we want to try to go down, because we see the impact of, if you can catch these people earlier, then the chance of reducing the risk and exposure increases. So great question.
We actually just had a meeting. I was just in a meeting right before this with the Owensboro Public School System. And our prevention department talked a lot about some of the evidence-based programs that they have for youth that we can offer within the school system and try and intervene. And she even said in that meeting, like, yes, middle school is great, but we need to start it in elementary as well, especially because of that. So definitely reach out to our prevention department and talk to them about any training opportunities that are available for youth.
Lighthouse actually explored that idea last year, and I hosted a luncheon where I broke it down to, if I would have gotten sober when I was 14, then maybe my daughter would have never used. And if my mom hadn't used when she was 16, maybe I would have never used. And so it breaks those generational curses. The problem with Lighthouse, Jonah, is we do not accept Medicaid, and it's really expensive. So obviously they can't work yet. So their parents are going to be fronting that bill, right? So that's where we came into a hiccup, but it's not off the plate yet.
I can't thank you all enough. And I know, like you said, we are very blessed in this community to have just tremendous amount of resources and variety of resources. Of course, it's never possible to have absolutely every resource up here, but I really do appreciate having you five represent your organizations, and we'd love to do it again down the road a little bit, and hopefully we'll have moved the needle on this issue for our community. So thank you so much for all you do.